Thank you. I'm not sure, but I wasn't too.
I just kept my house and I ate it.
I did. Okay.
You know what he said? Yeah, what's the mahod v'Yisrael?
I'm sorry.
Ah, how you guys doing? Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.
You don't need this? I have this one. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you.
You bought the mezuzot? Left it at the door. Forgessen? Vergessen. We're getting young. Okay. And we're at the end of perek, the last 3 lines. It's page 196. 100 what? 196. Yeah, excuse me. Oh, no. Thank you. Okay. We're getting we're in Shloshim Yom Kovim B'Chag Purim. It says Kai Vinish Lefsuraya Lefsumei Beforaya Ad Yoda. The Frierdiker Rebbe said once in a Sicha, Kai Vinish, if a person feels his margish benafshek that he's a chayiv, so what should he do? What's the eitzah?
Oh, you want to see the? Okay.
What's the eitzah?
No.
The eitzah is levsume befuraya. What means levsume? Levsume means to become drunk. What's puraya? Puraya could I mean over here in the Gemara means pur, but in the bed, in the shas, a puraya means a bed. So before he goes to bed, Krishma Shalamita Zulaven is shikir from the Amoridike Krishma Shalamita, and that from that way he'll settle everything. It shouldn't.
But this Friday is not the same.
Yeah.
This point, it's Friday.
Ooh.
Mazel tov for your birthday. Thank you for joining us.
Mazel tov on your birthday.
The Chassid Rabbi Masmed once came to a house. He used to travel around. He used to collect tzedakah from the Rebbe Rayatz. And the person said, "You're traveling. You must be hungry." He said, "I'm hungry, but I'm exhausted. I can't eat. If you have a room for me with a bed, I need to go to sleep right away. Please get matters." So the guy said, "Okay, fine." He had a room, he had a bed, it was ready. He gave him the room. He sees that the light is still on in the room. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. The light is on. Eventually, close the light. Next morning, he said, "Rebitcha, what happened? You were starving, and you said you had no koiches to eat. I gave you a room that the bed was ready, and for hours the light was still on." He said, "Takev is gerecht. I was starving, but I was exhausted, so I couldn't eat." So, we were learning in perek Zayin the exercises that a person should do in order to get to Yide Tatoeh. 2 basic exercises, the Indian of exercising Midas Rachmonas and Leiv Nishbur, and both are connected to Krishma Shalamita. They say a word from the Chidush Harim. The Chidush Harim asks, the Mishnah says in Mesachas Brachas that the Umnin Koirim Beroisha Ilana Beroisha Nidvach Mashein Rashaim Lasas came with Tefillah. So L'choyde ich verstehe nicht. What's more important? Krishma is the Raisa. Tefillah is derabanan. So why is it that tefillah has to be b'kavana? You cannot allow to do it b'rosh ilan. Krishma, which is the Raisa, more kavana, less kavana, you could do b'rosh ilan. So he said, we know, like the Elionavi was upset at the Huna that he was standing in a churva. You shouldn't put yourself in a makom sakona. You can't do that. But Krishma Yidas to be moist and nefesh. Anyway, you have to be moist and nefesh. So what's the difference where you're standing while you're being moist and nefesh? Anyway, being moist and nefesh.
Why is it different from Krishma to Tefillah?
Because the tefillah is when that's not a mitzvah of a Mesiras Nefesh, it's a mitzvah asking for things.
Like Tefillah Kitzara.
Okay. Let's start. So where are we holding? We said that in perek Zayin, the Alter Rebbe gave 2 exercises how to get to Yida in a way of Tshuva Tzatah. In perek Ches that we did recently, the Alter Rebbe spoke about Tshuva Tzatah and Tshuva Eloh. Tshuva Tzatah and Tshuva Eloh. What's the difference between Tshuva Tzatah and Tshuva Eloh? It's funny, the Alter Rebbe puts it in the same perek. If you would ask me, I would split it in 2 perokim. The Alter Rebbe puts in perek Ches about Tshuva Tzatah and Tshuva Eloh together. And today we're going to move on to perek Tes, Biureni. What's the basic difference between Tshuva Tzatah and Tshuva Eloh? Let's go back. The Zohar says Tshuva means the word Tshuva. It's like a play on the words, but it's not a joke. It's not like a dude. It's a Zohar. The Zohar says that Tshuva means the word Tshuva is Tashuv Hey, return the Hey. Which Hey? Which Hey do you have to return? There is Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. So the Zohar says the Shuva Tator is Hey Tator. That there is the Vav and the Hey, and sometimes the Hey falls off the Vav. You know, like a bulb, you got to screw it in, tighten it, then you hit the switch and the light turns on. Shuva Tator is to screw the Hey back into the Vav and tighten it. And Shuva Eloh is to take the higher Hey, which fell off the Yud, got detached. You got to screw it in, tighten it, and again flip the switch and let the light go on. That is Tshuva Eloh. Tshuva Tator is Toshuv Hey Tator. Tshuva Eloh Toshuv Hey Eloh. What does that mean? So we learned in the perek Ches and Tanya. The meaning, I just want to step back. The Rebbe has a biur nifla on this. To Simcha B'Shalach Tovshin Lamed Aleph. What's the basic difference between Seichel and Midas? Midas, everything starts with me. Do I like that person? I don't like that person. Is that person loyal to me or disloyal to me? Do I like him? Do I dislike him? Is it good for me or is it bad for me? Is it dangerous for me? Is it safe for me? Everything is about me. Am I going to flight or am I going to fight? It's all about me. The midas is all measured with me. I'm in the center. I'm the center point, and all the midas are measured to me. How do I feel about it? How do you feel about it? Yeah, I don't feel.
But something I don't understand. I thought we were supposed to nullify ourselves
Good
in
question.
order to connect with Hashem.
Oh, good question. That's why we're going to continue on this. But this is the definition of midas.
Got it. Okay.
Midas is about me. What's moichin? Moyach is not about me. No, it's not relevant to what I think. If a person has preconceived notions about how the outcome of this discussion should be, so then he can't judge on this because that's not emes. The nin of moyach is that I check my preconceived notions and my feelings at the door. Now, nishnageh how I feel about it and how I think about it. Now let's find out the emes, not negay about my feelings. That's the difference between midas and moichin. Tshuva Tator is all about midas. Vav and the Hey. There's the Vav and the Hey. Vav is the 6 midas. Hey is Kabbalas El Malchus Shamayim. So accept the yoke of heaven. Accept the yoke of heaven in a way of excitement that the 6 midas are involved. So there is a person. The first step in tshuva is he doesn't have the yoke of heaven. He sinned. Obviously, there's no yoke of heaven over him. So the Alter Rebbe says the basic thing in tshuva is to say, "I'm returning. I will now take the yoke of heaven." No, that's good. The Alter Rebbe says that's mitzvah's tshuva. All the rest is froth. So why do we need the rest? Because that tachlota could go for 15 minutes. People they say today I was on a diet. I actually did 12 diets at once. When I finished the amount of calories in the first diet, I did the second diet. I finished the calories the second diet. I did a third diet. I had 12 diets in one day. So how do you make a change that's lasting? So that we need. So that's why we had the exercises in perek zayin to make that the yida, that the tshuva tato should be everlasting. A person says, he screws in the hay into the vav. The vav is the midas, but it has to start with kabbalah machsham. So once he does tshuva tato, what's the bottom line? The bottom line is that he's now a servant. He's a true servant to the Eibishter. Just like a servant and a master are two separate things, the Yid and the Eibishter are two separate things. Tshuva law has nothing to do with Avedis. Tshuva law is even for tzaddikim gemurim. Tshuva law is that a person neshama is disconnected from the Eibishter, just like a child who was a tip in the father's brain and now became a separate entity. Ilu Yitzur, the child can be put back into the father's brain. That can't happen physically, but spiritually, a neshama could go back to be dovuk in the Eibishter, beterem shenafcha, before it was atan afachtabi, before vayipach ba'apav nishmas chaim, and it's possible. How? You're learning Torah. When a Yid learns Torah, like the Beis Yosef said in the Magid Meshorim beginning of Pashas Vayikra, it's remarkable. People would be ashamed to write a sefer today like this, like the Beis Yosef. Yosef wrote a sefer, a Malach came to me, and Malach was learning with me. He writes a sefer. He's not ashamed. And he writes in Pashas Vayikra that he was learning, and all of a sudden you heard a voice out of his own mouth saying, Ani a Mishnah, medaberes bepicha. So the Torah and the Yid become one, and the Torah is one with the Eibishter. So Yid is with a dveikus nifla, like terem shenovcha. That's Tshuva law. Tshuva law is that he learns Torah not to be a Rosh Yeshiva and to say Chidushim. He learns Torah because he wants to be dovik with Hashem. And that's the idea of avodas hamoyach. That's the yud and the hey. We're screwing the hey into the yud. That's tshuva iloah. Now it's tshuva tato is like a servant and a master. Tshuva iloah is like a child and the father. But tshuva iloah is not just a child and the father after the child was born, but the child is so dovik with the father as if it didn't separate yet. That is tshuva iloah. And therefore, tshuva law is shaykh also tzaddikim. So there's a big difference. Tshuva tato is avodas hamidos. Tshuva law is avodas hamoichin. That's why the Zohar says, "What's tshuva law? Bina ben yudke, ben yudke. This asik beiraisa b'dechilu urechima the kutchabrichu that he should do, that he should learn Torah. That is tshuva law. That's the basic of what we learned in perek ches. We're holding the last three lines in perek ches.
Just before you start, what's the issue with fight or flight according to psychology? What's the issue?
I don't know. I'm not a
Well,
psychologist.
you picked on it, so I want to know.
I said so everything to do with me. So is it good
We're
for me or
supposed
bad
to
for
take
me?
care of me. We have an obligation to take care of our body.
Did I say not? Did I say not?
Well, why are you picking on it? You're making it like it's no good.
I explained the difference of moyach and midish.
Shir now.
Relax. I'm not talking to you.
I know,
Okay.
but
To the
you're
rabbi.
disturbing everybody else in the shir.
But you're disturbing me now.
In the last three lines in
That's
perek
what
ches.
they got.
I'm allowed to ask questions. That's part of life.
Milas bale tshuva al tzaddikim gemorim.
You ask him afterward.
Okay.
Milas bale tshuva al tzaddikim gemorim bazeh. What's the mila of bale tshuva? Let's go back three lines just because we're already standing right over here. So three lines from the top. Hine b'chinas yichud zeh v'tshuva zu hi b'chinas tshuva yilo shalach tshuva tato. This is the level of tshuva yilo after tshuva tato. Mashkasu b'zeh hakodesh. But I am him the pashas nasa the tshuva yilo he this yasik beiraisa b'tchilu rechimu de kutshabrichu. Diu ben yudei
What's attached to feeling?
the avanira. The chilu is
Fear.
fear. Rechimu is ava. they should learn Torah with Ava V'Yira for the Eibishter. And the Zohar says that Bina is Ben Yudke. The letters Bina, if you flip it around, is Ben Yudke Chulu. At this point, before we get to the brackets, is where we're holding, is what does a Baal Tshuva have to do? What's the connection of a Baal Tshuva with a person that sinned with Tshuva law? A Tzaddik Gomer also has to do Tshuva law. So the simple pshat is, look, but he sinned. Just like we say, why do you need Yida Tato al Pitzilis? The guy should decide. Shaloya Yoshev Lakisla, Makabel Oil Malchusay. Like I said, problem is it lasts for 15 minutes. And then he is on a second diet in the same day, and on a third diet on the same day. Elamai, so the Tshuva Tato makes that this Kabbalah El Malchus Shemaim should last. If he had those Tshuva law, it'll mamish last. So that's the pshat l'chayr. That's why it's in the same perek, because he already did Navedas, so he needed to do Tshuva. You also have to do Tshuva law, but the Alter Rebbe adds in the brackets. What's the mile from Bali Tshuva? Over tzaddikim gemurim, b'zehi k'mashkotzu b'zeh hakodesh parshas Chayesora. Dinun mashchin alaya berusa deliba yatir, that the Bali Tshuva get drawn to the Eibishter with a rusa deliba which is much stronger, ubechela with a koyach, with a velocity, with a force.
What's it, Rusu?
Rotzen. A stronger rotzen alay and a stronger koyach. Berusa deliba yatir, the rotzen alay is stronger by them. Ubechela sagi, and with a very strong koyach, liskar v'lamalke to get close to the melech. The Rebbe says that the pshat is at the depth of the tshuva ilah, the Baal Tshuva is stronger than a tzaddik, because a tzaddik, the whole idea of tshuva ilah is that I'm ois metzias. It's the avodas hamoichin of avodas hamidas. That it's not avodas hamoichin is a harder avodah. We spoke about it last week. The Alter Rebbe said ultimately it's bevias Mashiach, because Mashiach osla tzavet tzedekay b'tiyufta probably means tshuva ilah, not tshuva tato. Tshuva tato is in order to get out of golus we do tshuva tato. But pashtos tshuva ilah is also the Mashiach is coming to. So the Alter Rebbe says that the ultimate of avodas hamoichin is that it's fine, but we're doing it today. The ultimate will be then. So what's the mile of avodas hamoich? Because it's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about me. Who cares about me? I don't care about me. I lose the feeling of me. But by tzaddikim, whole gufa that I lose, but it's api seichel. Who's understanding? It's my seichel that I'm using. So still there's a little bit of me over here. Ashenkin the Baal Tshuva, who's going l'mayla metam v'das, he's doing tak avodas hamoich, but he's doing it with such a koyach of l'mayla metam v'das. So here he's more matzliach to lose. The whole idea of tshuva ilah is to lose the feeling of the ich, the ani, that I should be like a child that's connected to the father before the tipa came out of the moyach. So therefore there's a mile and avoida of the Bali Tshuva. There's a rishim. There's my shver was very niskar to Chabad through a yid. His name was Rebbe Blomkart. Rebbe sent him to be a shliach in Argentina, and it was very matzliach. His children, grandchildren, great grandchildren now, who are all matzliach in Argentina. But it was Baumgartens are a few daughters even that lived here in New York. In the early years, there was once that
The father of the Chazal Baumgarten?
yeah,
Wow.
his father, no,
No, his uncle.
his uncle. I'm sorry, it's his uncle. Yeah, Berel is his uncle. Zalman Berel is his uncle. So the Rebbe apparently asked him before Yom Kippur. The Rebbe called him and gave him. This is 1954. The Rebbe gives him a piece of lekach and gave him an address to a certain family. So Kamuvan, he did the shlichus, and he understood that chelik the shlichus was not just to knock on the door and deliver a piece of lekach. And he wrote to the Rebbe a report after the Yom Tov, saying that he went to the house and he told him about the Moed Keschus, that the Rebbe would think about them. He told him what is a neshama klolis and what does it mean that neshama is connected to a neshama, and that the Rebbe is giving them lekach. He says that they had an unbelievable. The family had unbelievable insiders. I mean, obviously that's why they were sent. And they asked him if they could ask him questions. First question they asked was, Chazal say, "B'mokim shebalei tshuva emdim tzadikim gemurim einim lecholim lamed." So what is the pshat? We're talking about, we don't know who the Rebbe was trying to make out of over here. Not necessarily we're talking about, we don't know who it is, but might be someone who was quite simple. But the Rebbe sent that they should be mekar of this family. So he told them that the Rambam says that a tzaddik doesn't have the same nisyonis and challenges that tzaddik never tasted. He doesn't know what a cheeseburger tastes like. It doesn't talk to him. But the Baalei Tshuva, they know it's delicious. They taste it. Now he's not eating it. So Mamela is a bigger schach. Okay, very nice. So the Rambam says Nechus Tshuva, nothing wrong. Then he says he told them lechidudi. He told them, sorry, I'm already ruining the story. He told them that if a person is not doing real tshuva, is doing fake tshuva, then maybe the pshat is that b'mokim shebalei tshuva oinim, that it's a smelly place. It's not a good place. So the tzaddikim don't want to stand there. We've many times heard this word. Many gilgulim, many people said it this way, that way. The Rebbe wrote back a note. Lichidudi kama. This is a sharp word. Lichidudi. It's another word. Lichidudi is really a little, that means it's for sharpness. It's not emes. Chidud. Chidud, yeah. Lichidudi kama. Ve'enoi amiti. It's not a true word. V'chaval she'omar zeh anal. It's assured that you said such a thing. So he felt very bad. He wrote back a note to the Rebbe saying maybe he should visit them and fix him. The Rebbe said, no, it's not kedai. Eino kedai oifwecken die Zach. Eino kedai oifwecken die Zach.
Ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. So don't poke your finger in there. Forget it. However, im ye'orer hanal, if that person will speak to you again, if the person will ask you about that pshat, then you'll tell him that it was lechidudi. How careful that ever was. He didn't say you should tell him it's Eini Amiti, because that's not the way to talk. Someone who's starting the first steps in Judaism. To tell, I told you pshat, Eini Amiti, is get very confusing. Instead, you should tell him it's lechidudi. Lechidudi means it's like, it was a sharp, it was a blitz, it was a pun. A pun. It was a sharp thought, but not that this is the real meaning of what Chazal had in mind. So we see from the story that even though they say this word in the name of many tzaddikim, but first of all, I've never seen it published in the name of. They say it in this one. The poil I've never seen in a sefer should say as apshat. So it could be people, made up a word and they decided to, to the Kotzker, to this one, right? But the Rebbe, when he wrote this to the Rebbe wrote L'chidude ve'eni amiti. So it's very interesting how the Rebbe looked at this. There's a word that Chassidim said that the Alter Rebbe, when he started to teach his Talmidim, he wanted to call that group should be called Baalei Tshuva, not Chassidim, but Baalei Tshuva. But at the end, this is a word to Chassidim again.
Like Sefer should be named Sefer Shabbat.
Yeah, it should be Baalei Tshuva. But then he decided not to do it. Why? Because if he'll call them Chassidim, the other guys will call themselves Misnagdim. But if he'll call this Talmidim Baalei Tshuva, so what are the other people going to call? Baalei Aveda, Rishoyim, Chas v'Sholem. So that's why he decided. Anyway. This is the word. So anyway, the word is that the difference between a tshuva tator, screwing the hay in the vav, and screwing the hay in the yud, the hay in the vav is avodas hamidos. That my midos is dedicated the Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shamayim to the Eibush. So that means that, and we'll talk about it soon more befrotos, that I love Hashem because it's good for me. Kirves Elokim li toiv. It's delicious to me. It's geschmack to me, but it's good for me. Or I have respect for tzaddikim because it's good for me. It's good for me and my family. The Ava V'Yida that's expected in the level of Yutei is not because of me. It's because Azoy the emes. Azoy is the emes. and that's why it's avodas hamoich. It's not about me. It's about losing, because when I lose my metzias, then I could succeed to go back to the tipus av, which is the moyach av.
What does that
I want to go back
explain that
to
us?
the drop,
Yeah.
just like the seed of the baby, which is in the father's brain. So if physically in this world, you can't, once the baby's born, you can't put it back in the mother's womb, and you can't put it back in the father's brain. But spiritually, even though a neshama was already nefach tabiyah, and neshama was already produced, neshama could have dveikus through learning Torah so much that it's one with Hashem, like the seed of the baby when it's still part of the father's brain. Okay. And that's done through Torah. That's through Torah. Before we continue, one more nakuda. Tonight is the Yortz of the Rebbe Tzachai Mushka for Beshvat. Wow. So I want to say something about the Rebbe Tzachai Mushka. We know that the Rebbe Tzachai Mushka, Chaim, wanted that the Rebbe should rest up a little bit. Yeah. So she asked, so you come in from Paris, it came from France, the famous Chassid and Oived Elikim, Ibn Nissen Nemanov. Everyone had tremendous respect for him. Tremendous respect. And the Kabbalah soil for him. And he was in France. When he came from Russia, he came to see the Rebbe. New York. Yeah, he came to New York. I don't know, the early years. He came a few times.
The Rebbe said that he was a baby.
I don't know. But the he was like everyone. He was like he was a mashpia. He was sort of, when for the 20 years the Yidden were disconnected, they listened to everything that Nissen said was the Kabbalah Sel Malch Shemayim. It was like mamish. It was as if the Rebbe said. And everyone, they wouldn't do a thing without him Nissen. And he was a person that his davening was a mamish anit from ananda Welt. And his davening was barichas nifloa, when he was a moed de Kabbalah soil. And he started the yeshiva that's today the first Lubavitch yeshiva that was started when they came out of Russia, was started in France, in Brunois. That's the yeshiva Ha'etzem Hayom Hazeh in Brunois in France. So the early years of the yeshiva.
This is the war the yeshiva started?
No. Right after the war, they managed to get out. So the early years, the first shluchim that came, I'm just going off the topic. The first shluchim that came, that Rebbe sent was to Morocco, because there were tzaddikim in Morocco. There were influences from secular French Jews, started opening up schools all over Morocco, and they were nervous about it. And the Rebbe sent shluchim to help out, to open up yeshivas and chadorim that'll be kosher. Altaras HaKodesh will be kosher schools. One of the tzaddikim that were got very involved was the tzaddik, the Baba Sali. In the early years, when he was still in Morocco, he sent a lot of talmidim to the yeshiva in Brunois, and he wanted that to spend Chodesh Elul in Brunois in the yeshiva. Yeah, and for 2 years or 1 or 2 years, he went for the whole Chodesh Elul. And he spent in the Lubavitch Yeshiva in Brunois. And they say that him and Reb Nissen got along very well. So it's like the East meets West. It's like, like I told yesterday a story here that often Krenitz, Reb Nissen thought he was that agent, the KGB. The Tzitzis made the suspect even bigger. They say that they got along really, really well. It's unbelievable. It's because when it's Kedusha, it gets glued together. It doesn't matter that this is the East and this is the West. And anyway, Reb Nissen was considered a very, very important person. And the Rebbetzin thought that if Reb Nissen will tell the Rebbe that he has to go on vacation, the Rebbe would listen to him.
Nissen tell the Rebbe.
Yeah, the Reb Nissen would tell the Rebbe. So the Rebbetzin asked that when he goes to Yechidus, that he should ask the Rebbe that he should go on vacation.
Florida.
So so he did so. He was the Rebbetzin asked. So he asked the Rebbe if he would go on vacation because it's important for the Rebbe's health. So he told the Rebbe that all the Rabbeim used to go on dacha. So the Rebbe said, yeah, the Rabbeim, the Chassidim sat and learned, so they can go on dacha. But my Chassidim are going to dacha, I have to sit and learn. That's what he told the Rebbetzin afterwards. Well, since I'm already telling the story, so Chesed Halberstam tells that he brought once two like comfortable chairs. The Rebbetzin in the summer, and she put it out in the backyard. And there's like a little porch in the back of the Rebbe's house, and she sat down, and the Rebbe Punk came home, and she asked if he would sit down. He sat down, and he jumped in the side, so the Rebbe didn't see him. He heard that they were talking about that in Russia the people used to go to dacha. They spoke for about 3 or 4 minutes, and the Rebbe stood up and said, "No, fader yor mishen yoytze given the dacha."
What does that mean?
For this year we were yoytze
The dacha.
the dacha. We did
3 minutes in the backyard.
yeah we did the backyard dacha. We did the dacha for this year.
Why didn't the Rebbetzin tell him directly? I just wanted.
She probably told him directly, she wanted to. And Nissan was it was considered very choshev by everyone.
How many years were they married at this point? Roughly.
30 years already. They got married 1929.
Rebbetzin claimed
Maybe 59, so they were married for 30 years. Okay, let's go.
This was in Brooklyn.
This is in Brooklyn, yeah. Understand perek test. The bina you tshuva iloah. That bina is tshuva iloah. Like a chicken that's sitting on the eggs. What's bothering the Alter Rebbe that he says biura inyan? What's the biura inyan? The Alter Rebbe is bothered by an obvious question. We said that tshuva tatoah is avoidance of the midos. We're screwing the hay into the vav. Tshuva law is avoidance hamoichin. We're screwing the hay law into the yud. So why are you telling me the siyasik be'iraisa b'dechilu urechimu de kutshabrichu? The chilu rechimu is ava v'yira. Ava v'yira is midos, not moichin. So l'choyre, the Alter Rebbe is saying that the whole difference of tshuva tator, tshuva law is avoidance hamoichin, avoidance hamidas. Here it's about me. I'm a refined character. I'm a good Jew. I love Hashem. Hashem is good for me. Hashem is sweet for me. And then in the Yirei law is something else because that's the emes. Okay, but that's not what the Zohar is saying. The Zohar is saying that he should learn Torah b'tchilu rechim with the kutshabrichu. So therefore, the Alter Rebbe continues. The bina in tshuva law. When the Zohar says that bina is tshuva law, the Zohar adds these words. Apparently, it's in several places in the Zohar. Like a chicken that's sitting on the eggs. What's the pshat in the Zohar that we're saying that a person is having bina is tshuva law, like a chicken that's sitting on the eggs? What's to do with the chicken sitting on the eggs? Okay, so the poshut pshat, not so poshut, but the poshut pshat is that we said that Ava v'Yida is Tuldus. They're like birth. What's the father and the mother? Chochma is called the father, and Bina is called the mother. That's why Ema Bonim Smecha. That mother is called Bina, and therefore the birth comes from Bina. The midas that a person has comes from Bina. Okay, but why is it important over here for the Zohar to say that Tshuva Ilah is connected to Eimrei Vetzes Ala Froich? The Alter Rebbe is going to answer. The answer Alter Rebbe is going to give that there's two types of Ava v'Yida. We spoke about it in Tanya recently. Those are doing everyday Tanya, and B'chol Tanya talks about two levels of Ava a lot: Ava Mesuteris, Ava Tivis, and then Ava Sichlis. Really three, but Ava. What's Ava Tivis? It's a innate. Every Yid loves the Eibishter. But how come when I came in, I felt love and a pull for the Chol, not so much for the Eibishter? Okay, because I have to figure out deep down there is a Yid loves the Eibishter, not the Chol. But if you dig into your heart and dig into yourself, you'll find the Ava Tivis that naturally you love the Eibishter. So there is also Ava Sichlis that I create Ava just by contemplating the greatness of Hashem. In a way, Ava TV sounds better because it's natural. Yeah, but there's also a problem with it. The downside is it's about me. It's my teva. It's my nature. It's nature and it's me. This is who I am. It's great. A Jew loves Hashem. That's my nature. It's great. But that's the greatness of Tshuva Tata. The Alter Rebbe is going to say basically that when the Zoya said that Isasik Bereisa B'Techilu Rechima de Kutchabricha was not talking about regular Ava V'Yira, which is the natural Ava V'Yira V'Yid. The natural Ava V'Yira V'Yid is really about me. I love the Eibishter because the Eibishter loves me. I love the Eibishter because I like my life. I like myself. I cut the nails on my hand and then I throw it in the fire, or I flush it down the toilet. I'm not upset because my nails are not me. My me is my life. The Eibishter is my life. That is the Avas Hashem, which is Ava Tivis. 1 second, but there is Ava, which comes through his boinanus, and that's not about me. That creates a certain Ava. The Rebbe says that the Ava that there is, that the Avas Hashem that comes through his boinanus, not a natural Ava. The Seichel is present. It's a shint. The Seichel shint in the Ava.
Oh.
In other words, like this, there could be sometimes a person has a certain character trait. You don't see the Seichel so much in it. Sometimes you do see the Seichel in it. For example, you have a person has respect for the president. A person has respect for his Rebbe that he learned Torah. He's a Chosid, he's Lubavitcher Chosid, and Reif Chosmose he learned from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and his Midas Toivus he learned from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So therefore, he has a Hadras HaKoved.
Yeah.
In the feeling of Hadras HaKoved, there is tzefiltzich, it's a shine. There's a feeling, there's present, the understanding. So in the midas that are the Ava V'Yida that are created through Bina, the Bina is close to the Ava V'Yida, is present. That's the inyan of the Zohar, or Emrei Vetzas ala Froichem. By chickens, you see the mother is sitting on the chick. So you see the connection of the chickens with the mother. In Ava V'Yida, which is created, the love that's created, because I fanned the flames of the fire, but really it's natural Ava V'Yida. You don't see so much the presence of the aim Revetzes ala Froichem. You don't, because the truth is, it's natural to have this Ava. True, I needed these bonus to fan. They say the mashal of one of the tzaddikim, that there was a rich man, and he had one of his servants. So he did them a favor. In those days, a fire was very hard. How do you make? So they had this. They invented this thing that you push thing, and it blows. And when it blows, it makes the fire bigger and bigger. Like all the blacksmiths. I went when the son with the kids to a shop. The old-fashioned blacksmith. So he had this thing, and they blow the accordion. Like an accordion, and that makes that the fire should get bigger and bigger, and then he could move the matechas and make kalim from the koyach of the fire. But that was the wind. So he brought the mapuach. So he bought a mapuach for his mishoreses, because he figured it'll be easier for her. And he come next day and he said, "No, but the job was 100% easier, right?" She said, "No, it's crazy. I was going like this and like this. There's no fire." He said, "Did you light a little bit of fire first?" "Oh, you got to light a little bit of fire first. Oh, I didn't know that." So this was the mashal. You got it. Yeah, there's this is a mashal that like one of the mashpiyim, Reb Chaim Shelbrook said. He said that my job is to blow the fire, but you got it. You got to light a little bit of the fire yourself. So the same thing here. There is a natural ava that's there, and then the bisbonus is the accordion that's blowing the wind to make the fire bigger and bigger. Now that the fire is big, it's not nicker that it's coming from the bisbonus, but the ava v'yida that's created through bisbonus, the bisbonus is noticeable in the ava and the yida. That's the pshat. That this is a type of Ava V'Yida, which is a Emrei Vetzas Ha'afroichem. You see the mother sitting on the little ducks. Yeah. Wanted to say something?
What's wrong with the cholent? Hashem put
No,
us in the
cholent is
body
very
and we have to eat. And we say Hashem's name.
This cholent is the best cholent.
So what's the problem?
It's not. The other cholent is the problem. This one's not.
When a little child loves his father and mother, he doesn't understand. He loves his father.
Right.
When he grow up and understand what they do for him, he loves his father and mother. When is the love is more? When he grow up or when he's a kid?
So באמת יש בזה מה שאין בזה ויש בזה מה שאין בזה? the ava that's there mitzateva can never go away. But the ava that's mitzateva is the teva. It's me. It's me. Shenk and the ava that comes from his boinanus. So it's not as strong, and it could come, it could go. But lidach, it's not about me. And the Rebbe says that in that ava shayach, in the ava that's about that's a activistic ava, is more about kiris elkim litoiv kehu chayecho, because it's my chayes mashenkein, and the ava which is seichelik. The hainu sheideshim is boinu megdulus Hashem ba'mokas adas u'meil miruach binosoi, and he creates the chilur echimim sichlim, but he creates not that he fans the flame of the ava that's already there naturally in his heart, but it's very small. But he creates a totally new ava from a seichel. Ubetuv tam v'das, not stam. He works on it very hard. Huh?
Bellows is the word.
Oh,
Bellows.
Oh, for that thing. Yeah. So
I couldn't think of it. I just.
it's called a bellow.
It's a bellows, yeah.
Okay, very good. A bellows.
Or blacksmith.
So the Hainu Shedeshim is
Dalet
going to.
Vav Resh.
Huh?
Dalet Vav Resh.
Chilur Echim.
Meaning what? Avavir?
Avavira, yeah. Chilur Echim. Hainu Shedeshim is going to do some B'Makas Adas. He thinks about the greatness of the Eibishter with the depth of his mind. The Malam Meiruach B'Nosei. The Chilur Echim Ahava Yira Sichlim. And a Seichel way, not the natural one. But Tuf Tam B'Das, and with geschmack and with much tam and much das. Kinyan shenema elabes Hashem alakecha tu chayecha. Like the pasuk says, love the Eibishter because he's your life. The Rebbe says, the Rebbe is not bringing this pasuk over here tu chayecha to say. And usually the Chassidus says a very low level in Ava. Yehu chayecha, I love the Eibishter because this is my chayes. That's not the point here. The Alter Rebbe wants to say that why is this? The Zohar is connecting the avodas Yud Hey Shuvi Allah with the Chilur Echim. What's the connection with the Chilur Echim? Because in Avodas Hamayach you create a new set of the Chilur Echim, and in the Chilur Echim you feel the Moyach.
Yeah.
So, but what's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of that? The purpose of that is that Rambam says that how do you know a person did tshuva? So he did an aveda with a certain woman, a certain place, and a certain stage in his life where he was a bal koyach. And it's the same woman, and he still has the koyach the aveda, and he doesn't do the aveda. That's tshuva me'ula. Otherwise, that me'ula, he calls it tshuva me'ula. No, tshuva mishkal is that. That's the opposite of it. No, tshuva mishkal is yeah, that's something else. It's like scale.
Right.
No, the aveda that I'm called is tshuva me'ula. Mashenkein, he can't do the aveda anymore, but still. Or they can't do the Veda the same way, but still, it's tshuva she'eina me'ula, but still tshuva. The Rebbe says, when a person did an Aveda, he didn't do the Aveda with the koyach habitul that he has deep in his neshama. He did the Aveda with his hands and with his feet. He did the Aveda with chayes, with his ava, with his yira. He did it with so now, we'll say that he's going to do tshuva law. Tshuva law is unbelievable bittul to the Eibishter. But the Aveda he didn't do with the unbelievable bittul for the Eibishter. The Aveda he did with his hands, with his feet. He did it with a gusto. He did it with sayas. He was salivating over the Aveda. So now the Tshuva law has to seep in to the kolatz moisei. He has to feel the tingle in his fingers of the Tshuva law. So it has to be that the Tshuva law is felt kihu chayecha in his all his 248 limbs. That there's a new set of Ava V'Yida here, and in this Ava V'Yida, he feels the Tshuva law. The Tshuva law is felt in this in his Ava V'Yida. That's the pshat. He feels it in his bones. And it's not for a person to experience Tshuva law. It's not enough to fan the flame of the Ava Tivis. Or the Ava Mesuteres, because that's not good enough. Huh? The hidden. Because that's not good enough. Those midas. The Rebbe's father has a whole thing that Yira Pachad and Busha is connected to those three levels, and there's the Levium is the union of Yira, and there's Gershon Kosim Morari. and the Nasiya Siroish is by Gershon Kahos, not by Merori. So that's why Yida and Fachet goes together and Bush is separate. The Rebbe says, what's my father trying to bring out? Also by Ava, he talks about 3 levels of Ava. Ava Mesoteres, Ava Tivis, Ava Sichlis. So because the Rebbe says the whole idea of Tshuva law is that it should trickle down. It should not only that I experience absolute bittul in an abstract way, that bittul that I feel, unbelievable bittul to the Eibishter, should be felt in my heart, in my Ava, in my Yida. It should be felt. It should be felt in the Yida, in the Fachet, in the Busha. It should be felt in all levels of Ava and all levels of Yida. Azai nikro eim revetzes ala froichem. Then you can call eim revetzes ala froichem. If I fan the flame for Ava, for love, which is Ativid's Dika Ava, that's very nice. Well, if me and you tonight could fan the flames for our natural lava to Hashem, that's amazing. But that's not called Tshuva Ilah. That's not getting you to Tshuva Ilah. Tshuva Ilah is only through Avodas HaMoyach. So it has to be that it's through an unbelievable bittul, but yet that with this bittul, he creates a new set of Ava V'Yida, that in the Ava V'Yida is felt, is bittul to the Eibishter.
In the mind or in myself?
Well, it trickles down to the heart, and from the heart it goes into Maisa. In a Ikar Ava, the main thing of love is Dapkas Rucha Berucha. When someone loves someone, they want to connect. They're just kanoida, just like the Gashmias, when a person, the 2 people that love each other. So the union of a kiss is to shear the hevel apeh. So Valzen Nemer B'chol Nafshecha, that a Yid, the Ava, is he wants to be dovek in the Eibishter, and the emphasis here is B'chol Nafshecha, in every chelik of his nefesh. Amen. All chelkei nefesh, kol seichel midas l'b'shein, achshav dibur masker l'dovke kulam b'yizboreh. That because of his unbelievable Ava the Eibishter, he wants to be dovek to the Eibishter. Dainu amidas v'midois of Yizboreh mahu rachum. The Eibishter is rachum. The Yid wants to be rachum. The Rebbe says that the point is not just the dveikus. The point is that his midas is an expression of the Eibishter. His bittul is so strong that like the Zoya says, that B'Shim B'Yachai said, who am I? Ano Simona Ba'alma. I'm only a simon to the Eibishter. What? Reb Shimon Bar Yochai didn't have a plate of cholent and Shabbos. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai didn't go to the bathhouse on Erev Shabbos. He
had to come in.
He did have everything he had. Everything he had was nothing but a simon to the Eibishter. So in Tshuva Law, his Ava is so intense that everything in his life is an expression of the Eibishter. His midas is an expression of the Eibishter's midas. Vaseichel is an expression of the Eibishter's seichel. Seichel b'seichel v'chakmotzu yin atayra dereisam of Africa. So m'shofa ma'shafti b'ore v'dibur b'dvar Hashem zo'alochik m'shkosav v'asam dvore b'fichoi dvore shesamti b'fichoi v'maisa tzedokah l'hachis rok shvolem that k'mashkosav k'sheish Hashem asa Hashem as Shema v'oretz k'neidim b'makam achad. That just like the Eibishter, that he's merachim on the world, and sheish Hashem, he gives chayis to the world, that a Yid, he wants to be an expression of the Eibishter. So if he sees that Nebuch is a Yid who's a shofel, he tries to pick him up, to give him tzedakah, to give him encouragement, to help him find him a job, to help him find him a shidduch. It's not just because Azoy the Eibishter gehasen, because his whole life is because of his unbelievable Ava to the Eibishter, everything in his life is an expression of the Eibishter. And therefore, this is all a part of his dveikus to the Eibishter. Zuhi is dapkas rucha berucha betachlis adveikus veyichud shehi machmas Ava. That this dapkas rucha berucha is only when it's with Ava. But as he said earlier in the perek, it's not stama Ava, but it's Ava which comes from this unbelievable bittul, not Ava. He fans the flame from Ava Tivis, but he creates a Ava from his avodas hamoyach. So that's why the Zoya says that Tshuva law is associated with learning Torah. Because Torah, like we said before, Torah is, when a Yid learns Torah, it becomes one with the Eibishter. It's Tachlis Adveikus, like the Mishnah that said that the Beis Yosef writes that Aniya Mishnah Medaberes B'Picha. That's why Tshuva law is associated with learning Torah Dafka. Okay, so to summarize, the last perek we have about Tshuva Tato and Tshuva law. And this perek, the Alter Rebbe is going on and explaining in Teshuvah law how Teshuvah law percolates, how Teshuvah law is it's we're talking about another set of Ava V'Yida that's associated to Teshuvah law. Okay, Rebbe shall helfen. We spoke about this last week. As I said before, L'choida, it's a double posh. It seems that you didn't have to do tshuva in order to get the Geula. On the other hand, Mashiach is only coming to teach us how to do tshuva. So which one's supposed to come? The chicken and the egg is which one's coming first. So as I said before, L'choida, I think it's a double posh. I'm not trying to say Chaz Shem Pshat and Natanya. That tshuva tato, the basics at least of tshuva tato, that's our job. But experiencing tshuva law, the Rebbe says that the distance of a balaveda becoming doing tshuva tato is smaller than the distance of a tzaddik doing tshuva law. That doing tshuva, a huge balaveda doing tshuva tato is small potatoes. Klengel. It's not a big deal. That's the Lashon the Rebbe. I'm not saying that, but that's something that from going from a balaveda to Baal Tshuva, big deal. Going from Tshuva Tato to Tshuva Law, that's a really big deal.
We would think otherwise.
Exactly. We would think, you guys, a big balaveda to do Tshuva is hard. Do Tshuva Tato, Tshuva Law. So that's why we need Mashiach. The Rebbe shall help that we need Mashiach in order to experience the true Tshuva Law.
Amen.
Rabbi, question. We say that the ultimate is bittul to the Rosh. You say also that we're where in the world by Hashem would there be anything bittul? Obviously, Hashem is bittul to no one, but where would does Tanya lay out any? That's my question.
Right. We say the opposite. We say the Rebbe Marash said that
When you born in Shabbos, you don't know.
anyway.
You say no.
I hear. I don't know. I mean, the truth is, we learned the Maimed of last week about the Eibishter having koyach begvul. Also,
This is bittul. That his bittul is Mato himself and accepts him.
right.
If you're masking to that idea, then
No, but you asked me if Chassidus talks about it. Yeah, it does, because the Maimon Chazal, B'makom Shatamoitz B'Yolosa, Shamat Chaitza B'Sanusa. So there's a lot of Chassidus about that.
okay.
That will answer your question.